go. Sixers basketball has arrived once again. Tonight's matchup is against the Los Angeles Lakers, and my name is Christian Crosby. As you can see behind me, Squad 76 is here. Franklin is here. The Sixers are here, and they're excited. Let me do an energy check. What's going on, y'all? As you can see, we are super excited about tonight's matchup. It's a big game for the Philadelphia 76ers and a big game for fans. So fans, let's talk about it. First and foremost, I want to remind all of you to download the official 76ers mobile app. Let me tell you why. There's photos, there's videos, there's access to the podcast with Brian and Lauren. You got to check it out. There's so much to do there. And also, you can redeem your prize from the Wendy's Frosty Freeze Out. That is correct, fans. I'm not lying to you. The Wendy's Frosty Freeze Out is back. Oh, yeah. As you can see, Squad 76 is excited about it. Let me break down the details in case you forgot. When the Los Angeles Lakers in the second half go to the free throw line and miss 2 consecutive free throws, you'll have an opportunity to win a Wendy's Small Frosty. Now, if they do it for a second time in the game, you get a small Frosty and a small fry. And if they do it for a third time in the second half, you get a medium fry and a medium Frosty. It doesn't get much better than that. We all know Philly loves to win. All right, so make sure you guys download that Sixers app. There's so much going on tonight. The Squad 76, they have a dunk show coming up. Check it all out. It's happening right now. Here they come. Let's go, Sixers!
Christian Crosby is in the house, along with Sixers ENT at the center, as is young rookie Tyrese Maxey. Maxey getting ready for his first go-round ever in his professional career with the Los Angeles Lakers. A guy who's had a couple run-ins previously with LeBron James, despite having never faced the Lakers before. A good subplot tonight as the 76ers, the best team in the East, take on the best from the West and the top team in the NBA, the Los Angeles Lakers. How you doing? I'm Brian Seltzer. Lauren Rosen is in the building. Sixers, Lakers, it's 7-6 live countdown presented by Tissot. I don't know if we got to say more, Lauren. 2 number 1 teams in the league colliding on national television tonight.
Truly a battle of the league's best right now. The energy at the center, while never quite as good without our fans here in the building, is high tonight. You can tell that there's a big opponent coming to town. It feels good to be here, and it's going to be the ultimate litmus test for this 76ers team, who is still getting its feet under them, but leading the East.
I want to take care of this right now. This whole litmus test, the measuring stick thing. Doc Rivers, a few moments ago during his pregame Zoom, he was like, I'm not really viewing it as that much of a measuring stick. He views all games as measuring sticks, which I think is a great thing for the head coach of a basketball team to say. But of course, all of us here on the outside, the media, the fans, you love looking at matchups like this. Of course, we, from our perspective, not that it counts anything, and it should. The only one that matters is Doc. But of course, we're all going to look at it as a big test to start the season. And I kind of hope the players are too. I mean, this is a great opportunity at home for the Sixers to see where they're at, having played very well themselves against an LA team that is surging and coming off last year's title.
Absolutely. Always a pleasure to meet last year's champs, the reigning champions. And for Joel Embiid, it couldn't come at a better time. He's playing some of the best basketball he's ever played, playing himself into the MVP conversation. Maybe the forefront of the MVP conversation, Celts. Obviously, he is this week's Eastern Conference Player of the Week, and this is a big opportunity for him to show out against the league's best.
By all accounts, from what we know at this point in time, the 76ers will have all 5 of their starters available, their regular starters. So that's going to be a neat subplot to this game as well. Can the starting 5 group of Ben, of Seth, Tobias, Joel Embiid, Danny Green, a former Laker from last year, by the way, of course, putting their undefeated record on the line at 9-0 against one of the most talented teams out there, the Lakers, a different team from what it was last year, presenting a new type of challenge.
Well, you said it, Celts. That starting 5 of Embiid, Simmons, Harris, Green, Curry, they have never been beaten. If anyone's going to do it, it could be these Los Angeles Lakers, but I do like the way that this starting 5 has played together. And I know that, like Doc Rivers said, this isn't a game that's hard to get up for. These guys are excited to play against this opponent, and I'm excited to watch how it all goes down.
76ers coming off of a 2-game road series split with the Detroit Pistons. Joel Embiid did not play in the game on Monday, a 119-104 loss for the Sixers. But afterwards, the focus and the conversation, at least in the post-game press conference, quickly shifted from Motown to Tinseltown. Doc Rivers was asked after the game on Monday his thoughts about facing the Lakers starting tonight.
Well, I haven't thought of much yet, being honest, but we'll be ready when it comes. I can tell you that. I mean, they're not a hard team to get up for. They got LeBron James on their team, Anthony Davis, Trez. They got a lot of players. I thought they had probably the best summer of anyone, and they're better than last year. That doesn't mean they're going to win. Doesn't mean they're going to win it, but they are better than last year. But so are a lot of teams.
Different in personnel. Doc Rivers thinks not quite as big, but still very good defensively, talking about the Lakers. And they have an old friend, Marc Gasol, who was a terror up in Toronto the last couple seasons, now back in LA with the Lakers. So that's an interesting dynamic, at least in the starting five, Lauren. This is going to be a very big group, I think, when you look at James and Davis and Gasol for the 76ers, not even necessarily height-wise, but overall size-wise for the Sixers to contend with.
Well, it's interesting, Celts, because the Sixers' big three is pretty darn big. When you have Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons, and Tobias Harris all playing together, they're used to being the bigger guys out there. So it'll be interesting to see how they match up with maybe an equally large group of players out there on the court. And it'll be an exciting opportunity for the Sixers shooters as well. We cannot forget about how good Seth Curry has been. He is playing some of his best basketball in his career as well. So it could be a big night for Curry from beyond the arc.
As we look at the lower third graphic on our screen, who you got? We're talking about two of the top players in the game right now. LeBron James, superlative numbers from him so far, as you can see down there. And then, of course, on the 76ers side, an early season MVP candidate in Joel Embiid. So two potential MVP front runners for this season, Lauren, paired up tonight. They're obviously playing different positions, but that's what this league is about. I think more than any other professional sports league in America, just the star power of the NBA. Odds are you're going to see at least one star on a given night, whether it's on your team or the team your team is playing. And tonight we get two of the best in the league right now in James and in Joe. And then there's Anthony Davis.
And it was just last week that Doris Burke told us that Joel Embiid and LeBron James might be her two favorites in the MVP conversation. So tonight's a chance to see how those two match up. And like you said, different positions, but when you talk about a Joel Embiid or a LeBron James, those are guys who can get it done all over the floor. So different positions, yes, but equally lethal and equally universal out there on the court, also yes.
And I keep thinking about this stuff, Lauren, more and more, especially in light of Tom Brady going back to the Super Bowl with the Tampa Bay Bucks and a guy like LeBron James. These guys get older, but in some ways they get better. They refine their games even more. And in the case of LeBron, it seems like he gets that much more crafty and sly. He doesn't seem like he's slowing down at all.
Well, he is someone who has been public about the fact that he really invests in his body and his preparation. We're talking millions of dollars put into the way that he takes care of himself. And Joel Embiid is doing the same this year. He is working with a nutritionist, as we know. He has been in the gym early and often this season. So it's cool to see the way that maybe LeBron's taking care of himself has rubbed off on this younger generation of players like Joel Embiid.
Look at LeBron James on opening night against the LA Clippers, just 2 months after leading the Lakers to their 17th title down in the bubble. And of course, when these teams line up tonight, there's going to be a lot of familiarity because you don't have just inter-team familiarity with guys like LeBron, Ben Simmons, but Danny Green, a 76er starter, and Dwight Howard, key member off the bench, spent last year with the Lakers, and they're going to go up against their old squad tonight.
Well, we've talked a lot, too, about what Danny Green and Dwight Howard can bring to this team, having just won a championship. They know what it takes. They've been teaching the young guys on this Sixers team what it takes, and now they have an opportunity to face off against those former friends on the Lakers side.
Some of the numbers you're seeing on the screen right now is what Green and Howard respectively did in the playoffs last year for the Lakers. And just in getting to know Danny and Dwight a little bit, Lauren, during the preseason when we had the opportunity to speak with them, It's interesting because they seemed, and obviously were, so appreciative of the opportunity they got, being able to be with the Lakers last year and go for a title and win one, but also equally as determined to do it again with a new club this year with the Sixers.
And Danny Green, of course, the opportunity to do it for a third year in a row, which is just crazy and speaks to the way that Danny can bring excellence with him everywhere he goes. He's been huge for this team so far, and clearly tonight's going to be a special night for a guy like Danny and a guy like Dwight.
Sources say the rings are not in the building in South Philadelphia for Green and Dwight. I think maybe they'll probably have to wait until the Sixers head out to Los Angeles in the second half of the season. But it'll be a cool moment whenever it happens for those guys, and just another neat layer to this matchup tonight, which, Lauren, I think is going to be telling for the 76ers. I do. I think this will be a good opportunity for them because some of the teams they played quality opponents. I thought it was an impressive sweep at home against the Boston Celtics. But Boston wasn't at full strength, and by all accounts, it looks like for as much as they can be, the Sixers and the Lakers are going to be at full strength tonight.
Absolutely. And that's why the litmus test thing has sort of kept coming up. And like you said, Doc Rivers not necessarily going to put too much weight on a game that's still early in the season. But at least from a fan perspective, from my perspective, I'm looking forward to seeing how some of the best in the league really match up with one another tonight.
We're going to hear from one of the best in the league at what he does, perimeter shooter Danny Green, in a moment. But time now to go back to Squad 76. A little bit of the flavor of South Philadelphia to your home here on 7-6 Live Countdown presented by Tissot. I love it. I love the Sixers ENT Squad 7-6 cutaways, Lauren.
I love any opportunity to sort of try to share the environment that we're having here with our fans at home. I know I say it every show, but we miss you so much. Hope you're all staying safe. Thank you for rocking with us on this 7-6 Live Countdown presented by Tissot platform.
33-year-old Danny Green, Lauren, pretty darn good career in this game of basketball. A champion at UNC with the Tar Heels in North Carolina, a three-time champion in the NBA with the Spurs in 2014, the Raptors in 2019, and last year with the Lakers in 2020. And he figures to be a central role in tonight's match between the Sixers and those Lakers.
No doubt about it. You talk about a LeBron James leveling up every season. Danny Green is doing it too. We know he had his career high in threes just a couple weeks ago when he hit 9 in one night. So talk about a guy that's a little later in his career, but still leveling up. And I had the opportunity to catch up with Danny this morning. Hey, Danny, thanks for your time. How much are you looking forward to seeing how your new teammates stack up with your old teammates, especially considering both teams are leading their respective conferences right now?
I think everyone is looking forward to playing against the former champions. That's a big game. Anytime you get a chance to step on that floor and play a good team, any team, is a chance to get better for us, but especially the better teams in the league, the top team in the league, former champions, especially a former team or former teammates. Dwight's played for some teams. I played for some teams. A couple guys here have moved around some. So anytime a chance to get to play against their former team or teammates, it's always a fun challenge and a very competitive nature. So I think we're all excited about this one because of who they are and what they represent in this league.
And then after a difficult night in Detroit, how are you hoping that the team responds early in tonight's matchup?
Just our growing in our communication defensively. Last game, we had a very bad lapse. Started with me. Defensively, I got to be a lot better. of locking in, staying with our guys, bringing energy every night, not taking, night off and taking anything for granted. Every possession matters, regardless of regular season, playoffs or not. But getting the rebounds we need and not let it be a domino effect where one negative play rolls over into the next play. So, we got to stay positive with each other, whether a bad play happens or not. We got to keep moving to the next play and do better. But bringing that energy and defensively locking in and communicating. And also our transition defense is where we got to get better at, and that's what they're great at. So if we don't turn the ball over and get back on defense, talking in transition, I think that'll help us a ton.
Danny Green, thanks so much. Good luck tonight.
Great stuff, Lauren, with you and Danny. And of course, that transition statistic that Danny alluded to, so much a reflection of what LeBron James is able to ignite for the Lakers. I thought it was funny, Lauren. I'm going to paraphrase what Danny said. I think someone asked him, right, how do you stop LeBron James? And he essentially said, you can't, you don't. What was his quote from earlier today?
Yeah, you can only hope to slow him down. I'm not sure that's exactly what Danny said, but it's the vibe. You can't stop LeBron James. You can hope to slow him down. And this Sixers team has a really strong defense, right, Celts, that if anyone's going to be able to slow down a LeBron James, you would hope it would be this Sixers squad, especially the starting unit and the perimeter guys that can really make a dent on defense.
All right, so let's take a look and get you caught up to speed. Not that you probably need it. With the Los Angeles Lakers, they were, of course, the champions of the bubble. I think an asterisk in a great way. Mental toughness, resilience to go through that experience and still emerge as champions. I thought was really impressive in the way they did it. Very convincing against the Heat. They've won 8 out of their last 9 coming into tonight. They're 14-4, and they're currently on a 7-game road trip. That is a long time to be gone, but they're 3-0 on the trip.
Absolutely. This is the 4th stop. They've won all 3 up until this point. They had a high-quality opponent in the Bucks. They also played against the Bulls. So this is a team that has been on the road for a while. They are undefeated on the road, which is an interesting note. They've won all 10 of their road games this season, but the Sixers will look to put a stop to that. As we know, they are so good in this building at the center, and hopefully the Sixers will be able to get it done.
Dennis Schroeder, a newcomer to the Lakers. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope is shooting nearly 50% from 3. And as we mentioned, the front line of Davis, LeBron, and Marc Gasol. I'm thinking of potential defensive matchups, Lauren. I don't know. You probably put Ben on LeBron, Tobias on Davis, and then let Joe go to work on Marc Gasol. I mean, that is going to be a task.
It is no small task, that's for sure, Celts. I am remembering now that we're talking about it, though, Matisse Thybulle's debut against the Lakers. He snagged a steal on LeBron James in his early seconds, the first time he ever guarded LeBron. So obviously, I don't know that you can expect a guy of Matisse's size to match up with LeBron for the entire game or anything like that, but he has had success against him in the past. So hopefully the Sixers will be able to tap into Matisse as a secondary option there. But Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, that squad is going to have their hands full. You mentioned Tobias Harris, whose defense has also really improved this year. So even if this can't be a test for the whole team, if we don't want to give it too much gravity, it is a really good test for the defense, I think, Celts, because there are great defenders on this team and there are defenders who have tried to step up all season long. This is a great opportunity for them to show what they've been working on.
All right, shall we, Lauren, get to our keys to the game presented by Tissot? You first.
All right. Now that we just had our defensive talk, I maybe wish I had picked a defensive key, but I went with get the ball moving. Inspired by what Danny Green said earlier, it's going to be all about the first half for this Sixers team. They can't fall behind the way they did in Detroit most recently. If they can get the ball moving as well as we've seen them do in the past, with lots of passing, waiting for the great shot, I do think that this is an opportunity for the team to get ahead early and then maintain with their defensive intensity, hopefully get the win.
Love it. My key tonight is own the interior. Try to do it on both ends of the court. The 76ers have done a nice job this year. 5th in the league in the fewest points allowed to opponents scored in the paint. But listen, the Lakers, they're 1st in second chance points. They're 9th in points in the paint. They're 5th in three-point shooting, which I think is a direct reflection of their ability to get inside. So take away some of that stuff in the middle as much as you can. I think that will give the 76ers better odds tonight. And I think, Lauren, about tonight and it's hard. We always try to put the positive polish on things here on 7-6 Live Countdown presented by Tissot. But I'm thinking back to last year's game. I think it was 364 days ago at the Center. Sixers, Lakers, Saturday night prime time, ABC. Like, these are the games where you wish you could have the fans in the building, especially the way the Sixers have been playing so far. Number one in the East against number one in the West. It's going to be a blast, but it's tough not to look over your shoulder and be like, would love to see some of those seats filled.
I absolutely feel you, Celts. I kind of feel the spirit of Sixers fans in the building right now. I know that's no consolation to folks at home. I'm very lucky to be here, but I wish more than anything that you all could be here with me, because this is a team that can always use a boost from their fans, the best in the league, in my opinion, and in the team's opinion. They say it all the time. So we can't wait to get fans back here as soon as possible. But for now, please stay safe, keep rocking with us, and enjoy tonight's game. We miss you. We miss you so much.
Send the vibes through the old phone, through the computer, whatever. Sixers trying to bring home a big win tonight against the LA Lakers. Thank you to Ryan Coletti and Trevor Gaffney on the sticks. Lauren, we'll talk again on Friday. Enjoy the game tonight, a big one. Sixers and Lakers from the Center in South Philly.
We are just moments away from Sixers basketball, and as you can see, Squad 7-6 and the Sixers are extremely excited. Make sure you guys tune into ESPN to see all of the action, or you can tune in to 97.5 The Fanatic with our good guy, Tom McGinnis. Are you kidding me? It's all going down right here. We couldn't be more excited. It's the final game of January until February 4th. So, no more time to waste, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for Sixers basketball. Let's go, Sixers!